The sheer power of Monroe's technique leaves the high-ranking spectators in a state of shock. Sebastian, Alizia, and the sector chief of the Hillstar sector can only stare. Completely stunned by the display, the sector chief's shock quickly turns to awe. She marvels at Monroe's incredible talent, noting that he is less than 1,000 years old, yet has already managed to fuse 2 galactic rules into his body. From the arena, Monroe glares. His power is now at a level that is, as the narrator explains, truly incredible, possibly already reaching the stage of a quasi-emperor. Thanks to his cis-raid physique. The sector chief then turns to Professor Lee with a condescending smirk. She tells him that it doesn't really matter if Lucy is in good shape or not because the outcome is inevitable. He will be defeated by Li Kan. Professor Lee, his expression grim, retorts that it is too soon to say something like that, reminding her that Lucy has not yet lost. Unfazed, she simply tells him to wait and see. Despite his brave words, Professor Lee is deeply worried, clenching his fists and desperately hoping Lucy's Cheyenne will recover. In the arena, Monroe's body begins its transformation. He is enveloped in a brilliant blue light as jagged ice crystals form on his wings. Gritting his teeth, he lets out a guttural sound as his hair lengthens and turns a vibrant blue. With a final massive roar, he unleashes his full power, a colossal pillar of icy energy erupting from his body and shattering the arena floor. The power of his galactic rule is so immense it is depicted as freezing entire planets in the vastness of space. When the light fades, Monroe's transformation is complete. He now has long, flowing blue hair, a crown of ice, and is clad in formidable blue armor with a glowing crystal embedded in his chest. Looking down at Lu Shang, a single reptilian-like eye glows with power. A confident smile spreads across his lips as he tells his opponent that he has waited long enough. The sheer power radiating from Monroe's transformed state is so immense that even the spectators high up in the stands can feel it. They shiver uncontrollably, complaining of a cold that chills them to the very bone. One person exclaims in a horrified whisper, "It's the power of absolute zero." Awe-inspiring, such power suggests Monroe can truly freeze an entire star. In the arena, Monroe floats majestically, his massive dark wings casting a shadow over the ice-covered floor. He looks down at the lone shirtless figure of Lucy below. With an air of supreme confidence, he tells Lucy that, to show his respect for the legendary immortal bloodline, he will allow him the honor of being defeated by his most powerful form. A halo of jagged ice materializes above his head as his aura flares. With ultimate arrogance, he then commands Lucy to kneel and praise him. However, instead of kneeling, Lucy is enveloped in a brilliant, shining light. He stands amidst the glow, bruised but resolute, as faint, petal-like particles of light float around him. A slight, determined smile touches his lips. His thoughts turn to what he had seen just moments before. He resolves that he cannot make Snowy worry again. Not after everything. He knows she needs to rest because of the pregnancy. This newfound purpose solidifies his resolve. Seeing that Lucy still refuses to yield, Monroe prepares to end the fight once and for all, drawing back his fist for a final, devastating punch. The resulting collision unleashes a cataclysmic explosion of light and energy that shatters the entire arena, leaving the outcome of the epic battle hanging in the balance. The cataclysmic explosion sends a shockwave of despair through the stadium. In the crowd, spectators who have been cheering for Lucy are now certain of his defeat, shouting that it is over, and that he is completely finished. One spectator frantically explains to another that this is the peak of level 12, a power completely beyond anything they have seen before, and that since Lucy is clearly not in a state to fight back, it is a one-sided massacre. In their private viewing box, the sector chief of the Hillstar sector leaps to her feet in triumph, shouting and laughing with glee. Beside her, Sebastian can only stare in utter horror, completely speechless. His shock is broken by Ecclesia, who with a look of pure panic urges him to act. She tells him to quickly send someone to use arrow up and arrow down to select a turn, enter to jump to it, and escape to return to the chat. Rescue Lu Shang, insisting that he cannot be allowed to be seriously injured. Sebastian, sweating and terrified, can only agree. In the stands, Lu Shang's family and friends are frozen in a state of absolute terror, watching the smoke-filled arena with looks of utter despair. Shinny breaks down completely, tears streaming down her face as she screams for her brother. His father, his own face pale with shock, stammers that his little Shang has been attacked. He tries to comfort his sobbing wife, telling her that everything will be fine, though his own expression is filled with dread. Snowy's face is a mask of anguish. She clasps her hands to her chest, her eyes filled with tears as she whispers his name, pleading that nothing happened to him. Then, in a gesture of profound fear for their future, She places a hand protectively over her stomach. The massive holographic screens in the stadium show nothing but a swirling cloud of smoke and debris. The outcome of the battle completely hidden. The announcer stares up at the screen, his face a mixture of shock and confusion. He speaks into his microphone, questioning what the result of the battle is and asking if the fight is already over. In the crowd, some spectators have already lost interest. One yawns, asking what is so interesting. Another, with a smug grin, comments that it is obvious what happened. While Lu Shen might not be dead, he is surely gravely injured and the fight is definitely over. As the smoke settles, the announcer stands in the quiet arena, his voice filled with confusion. He wonders why a winner hasn't been declared, muttering about how boring the anticlimactic end is. He looks down at his microphone, asking himself if he should just announce the result now. Suddenly, his eyes fly wide. A brilliant blinding light cuts through the gloom, and he can only ask what that incredible glow is. A massive explosion of golden fiery energy erupts from the center of the arena, shocking him to his core. When the light fades, the scene is unbelievable. Lu Sheng, now bathed in a powerful golden aura, has effortlessly stopped Monroe's final devastating punch with a single hand. Monroe, far from no longer being angry, is ecstatic. A wide-manic grin spreads across his face, and he laughs with pure joy, shouting that the immortal is finally willing to show his true power. Lu Sheng's eyes now glow a fiery yellow. A confident smirk plays on his lips as he apologizes, explaining that he was so happy a moment ago that he got a little distracted. In their private box, Sebastian, who had been on the verge of panic, explodes with relief and joy. He shoots up from his seat, pumping his fists as he shouts that Lu Sheng has stopped the attack and is perfectly fine. The sector chief of the Hillstar sector can only look on, her face a mask of utter shock and disbelief. She stares, her mind struggling to comprehend what she is seeing. As she finally understands what the true power of an immortal bloodline looks like, the real battle now begins. The two warriors clash in the center of the arena. Their overwhelming auras of blue and gold colliding in a violent explosion of pure power. Monroe's face is twisted in a look of sadistic glee. He shouts that this is the kind of immortal he wants to see, and that defeating such a foe is the only thing that will bring him true satisfaction. He declares that he, Monroe, will have the honor of staining his hands with the blood of an immortal, calling it a pleasant surprise as he blocks a blow from Lu Sheng and launches a powerful counterattack. However, Lu Sheng effortlessly catches his punch. He looks at Monroe with a confident, taunting smirk, and asks if he really believes he is worthy of staining his hands with immortal blood. The two then unleash the full extent of their power, engaging in a furious exchange of blows that send shock waves of blue and gold energy crashing through the entire stadium. In the center of the arena, wreathed in a brilliant golden aura, Lu Sheng gathers an immense amount of fiery energy between his hands. A miniature majestic fire phoenix takes shape within the flames as he declares that the Ice Age is over, and that a new era is about to begin. With a surge of power, the phoenix erupts from his body, growing to a colossal size as it soars into the sky. Lu Sheng announces the name of his technique, the fifth stellar season. This incredible display of power only serves to excite Monroe further. He throws his head back and lets out a wild, joyous laugh, exclaiming that this is the battle he has always wanted. His eyes glowing with an intense crazed light, he roars a simple, eager challenge. Come on. In response to Lu Sheng's phoenix, Monroe summons his own colossal beast, a magnificent and terrifying dragon made of pure ethereal ice that coils in the space around him. The two champions then launch themselves at each other. Lu Sheng descends from the sky like a fiery meteor, while Monroe ascends to meet him, a tempest of ice and cold. Their powers collide in the center of the arena, unleashing a cataclysmic explosion of fire and ice that tears the very fabric of the space around them. The sheer scale of the battle leaves the spectators in a state of utter shock. One person in the crowd screams in disbelief, declaring that the two of them are simply monstrous. In his private box, Sebastian is pale with awe. He admits that even he would not dare to get involved in such a battle, as a single exchange would be enough to reduce him to dust. He wonders aloud how it is possible for them to be so powerful. Beside him, Ecclesia with a grave expression poses a startling question, asking if this means their combat level has already reached the legendary level 13. From his spot in the stands, Lan grips the railing, his face a mask of pure terror and awe. He shouts that the power of their bloodlines has reached a level that is simply too terrible to comprehend. This is the end of the video. If you guys want to see the next part, then don't forget to subscribe and like the video.